Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. The cool morning breeze rustled through the narrow city streets, making the fallen leaves rustle and filling the air with the scent of coffee and fresh bread. Ethan Miller walked slowly, his messenger bag slung over his shoulder, watching the passers-by. But behind his unassuming exterior, his heart was pounding. Today, he wasn't there to deliver a package, but to see Lily Harper again, the young woman who, a few weeks earlier, had changed his life. He remembered that day perfectly. He had tripped on the slippery sidewalk, and Lily had appeared as if by magic, catching him before he fell. Her clear eyes, filled with worry and kindness, had left an indelible mark on him. From that moment on, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about her, her smile, the warmth of her gestures. But out of fear, or perhaps caution, he had chosen to remain in the shadows, posing as a simple delivery boy, observing Lily's life from afar, getting to know her under the cloak of anonymity. Yet today, he had decided it was time to change everything. No more lies, no more disguises. He was no longer that wounded and fearful young man. He was ready to show her who he truly was, ready to offer her his heart without reservation. Upon entering the shop, the aroma of freshly ground coffee and fresh flowers greeted her. Lily was there, focused on her customers, her delicate hands gracefully handling bread bags and teacups. When she looked up and met Ethan's gaze, time seemed to stand still. Surprised, her lips parted slightly, and a gentle smile blossomed on her face. "Ethan," she murmured, uncertain but grateful. He approached slowly, each step a mixture of nervousness and determination. He put down his bag and took her hands in his, finally revealing his true face and his true identity. "I have nothing left to hide, Lily. I never stopped thinking about you, and I never want to hide again." Lily's eyes shone with unshed tears. She could feel the sincerity in every word, the depth of her emotions. The silence that followed seemed to last an eternity, heavy with memories, regrets, and promises. Then, with a trembling but confident breath, Ethan continued. "I want to spend the rest of my life protecting you, cherishing you. Marry me, Lily." She didn't speak right away. She looked at him, and in her eyes, Ethan read the answer, a mixture of love, relief, and pure happiness. A radiant smile lit up her face. That morning, in that humble but welcoming shop, two souls destined for each other finally met. And as the sun filtered through the windows, illuminating their faces, a new chapter of their lives began, made of trust, love, and eternal promises. The first rays of dawn illuminated the shop where Lily had worked for several years. The scent of fresh bread and coffee wafted through the air, while the doorbell rang for each customer who entered. Lily smiled at each one of them, her face radiating a natural sweetness that never went unnoticed. What she didn't know was that behind this quiet routine, someone had been watching for a few weeks, posing as a simple delivery boy. Ethan Miller, in his disguise as a young deliverman, had followed Lily's every move, noting her habits, her laughter, and the way she lit up the room simply by being there. But that morning, Ethan made a decision that would change their lives. He walked into the shop unannounced, his heart pounding, his gaze determined. No more hiding behind the courier mask. It was time to show who he really was. Lily looked up and saw him. Her surprise was immediate. She instantly recognized the young man she had saved a few weeks ago. But he was no longer the same. There was a new intensity in his gaze, a confidence he had never shown before. "Ethan," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "Lily," he replied, stepping towards her, his heart pounding with anticipation. "I don't want to hide anymore. I have to tell you the truth." He explained everything to her, why he had chosen to pose as a courier, the fear that had kept him away, and above all, how much he had thought about her since the day she had saved him. His words were sincere, vibrant with feelings he had never dared to express. Lily felt her heart clench. She had always been touched by this mysterious man, and now that he was finally revealing himself, she could read the full depth of his emotions. "Ethan." She began, but he gently cut her off. Please listen to me until the end. I want you to know that every moment away from you felt endless. I never want to lose you again. He took her hand in his, and in that simple but powerful gesture, there was everything he had never dared to say: admiration, gratitude, and deep love. Lily's eyes filled with tears. She felt that this moment was unique, a turning point in their lives. After a long pause, a smile appeared on her face, a mixture of happiness and relief. Ethan. She murmured, unable to finish her sentence, but her gaze was enough to give him the answer. Ethan smiled, knowing that this time, everything was different. The lies and the disguises were behind them. They could finally begin a new life, hand in hand, ready to face whatever fate had in store for them. The days following their meeting were filled with conversations, smiles, and shared laughter. Lily gradually discovered the man behind the courier's mask, Ethan, thoughtful, intelligent, and with a gentleness that deeply touched her. Every gesture, every word resonated with sincerity, and she felt her heart opening a little more to him each day. For Ethan, these moments were precious. He savored every instant spent with Lily, the way she spoke passionately about her work, the way she cared for others. But despite this budding happiness, a worry lingered within him. He knew her life hadn't always been easy and that certain truths could complicate their relationship. One afternoon, while they were walking in a nearby park, Ethan felt the weight of his secrets heavier than ever. Lily. I need to talk to you about something, he said, his eyes searching for hers with a new intensity. She frowned slightly, intrigued but confident. What is it? She asked softly. Ethan took a deep breath. My life hasn't always been easy. And what you've seen of me so far is only part of the truth. I want to tell you everything, because I don't want to hide anything from you anymore. Lily, touched by his frankness, placed her hand on his. Ethan, your past doesn't matter. What matters is who you are now, here with me. Those words warmed his heart, but a part of him remained worried. He knew that revealing certain details might surprise or even frighten Lily, and yet, he also knew that lying or remaining silent would be more destructive than anything. That evening, Ethan invited Lily to his home for a simple but elegant dinner. While they ate, he told her about his past, his doubts, his fears, and the reason why he had chosen to pose as a courier. Lily listened attentively, her eyes shining with empathy. When Ethan finished, she took a deep breath and placed her hand on his. Thank you for trusting me, Ethan. It doesn't change anything for me. I want to be by your side, no matter what the past holds. A sincere smile appeared on her lips, and for the first time in a long time, Ethan felt that his heart could be entirely hers, without fear or restraint. However, as they laughed and shared this moment of connection, a silent shadow watched from the street. Someone seemed interested in Ethan, in this new happiness he was beginning to build. Unbeknownst to them, their relationship had just encountered its first clouds. The weeks passed, and Ethan and Lily's relationship seemed to grow stronger every day. They shared walks, morning coffees, and evenings chatting about anything and everything. Everything seemed perfect, and yet, a nagging unease hung over Ethan. One afternoon, as he was leaving the shop after helping Lily unload some packages, he felt someone staring at him. Turning around abruptly, he saw a man he had never seen before, standing on the corner, staring intently at him. The man disappeared as quickly as he had appeared, but the unease he left behind lingered with Ethan. Ethan? Is everything all right? Asked Lily, noticing his tense face. He shook his head, trying to smile. Yes, just a little tired, I think. But deep down, he knew this appearance wasn't a coincidence. He had worked hard to build a new life for himself, to be accepted by Lily, and to finally feel safe. And now, something, or someone, threatened to bring his past back to haunt him. Later that evening, Ethan told Lily a part of his life he had not yet revealed, mistakes he had made, people he had had to flee, and secrets that, if revealed, could disrupt their relationship. You should leave, before things get complicated for you, she murmured, her eyes filled with tears that she refused to let fall. Ethan shook his head resolutely. No, Lily. I will never leave you. If you are by my side, nothing can make me back down. But despite these courageous words, the tension remained. Ethan knew that the outside world could sometimes be cruel and unpredictable. He wondered if his past would catch up with him before he could build a future with Lily. The next day, upon returning from his delivery, he found a small note slipped under the shop door. The handwriting was urgent, almost threatening. Some truths must remain buried. Be wary of those you let into your life. Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. He looked around, but no one was there. Lily joined him at that moment, noticing his concern. "What is it?" she asked, worried. He handed her the note, his heart heavy. "I don't know, but I'm afraid someone from my past is trying to find me. And that could put you in danger too." Lily placed her hand on his shoulder, a mixture of courage and tenderness in her eyes. "Ethan, we've started something real. No matter what happens, we'll face it together." Ethan looked at her, grateful for her strength. But deep down, he knew this was only the beginning of their trials. Their love had just encountered its first real storm, and it would take all their determination to survive it. The sun was sinking towards the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. Ethan and Lily were sitting in the small living room of his modest home, sharing a quiet moment after a long day. Yet, an invisible tension hung in the air. Ethan's mind was elsewhere, preoccupied by the mysterious word and the man he had glimpsed in the street. "Ethan," Lily said softly, "you've been silent for a while. What's really bothering you?" He took a deep breath. "Lily, there are people in my past, people who don't want me to be happy. And I'm afraid they're trying to get to us." Before he could say anything more, the front door rattled violently. They both jumped, their hearts pounding. Ethan immediately stood up, protective. "Stay behind me," he murmured. When they opened the door, they found a hard-looking man in a dark coat holding a sealed envelope. He said nothing and disappeared almost immediately, leaving behind a heavy silence and palpable tension. Ethan picked up the envelope and examined it cautiously. Inside was a photo, Ethan, younger, at a time when he had made choices he regretted, alongside unsavory characters. On the back, a single word was written. "Remember who you were, or you'll regret it." Lily felt a shiver run down her spine. "Who is it?" she asked, her voice trembling. Ethan clutched the photo in his hand, his face grim. "Someone I left behind, someone who will never forgive me." This revelation sparked a new fear in Lily. She knew Ethan had a complicated past, but seeing tangible proof of this threat made everything much more real. "We need to be careful," Ethan continued, his gaze determined. "I don't want this to put you in danger." But Lily, resolute, placed her hand on his. "Ethan, we've started something real. No matter what your past holds for us, I'm with you." Their bond grew stronger, but in the shadows, a figure was always watching. Ethan's past wasn't just a memory, it was alive, determined to resurface and sow chaos. And soon, their peaceful lives would be shattered. The next morning, Lily's shop seemed quieter than usual. But the peaceful atmosphere was deceptive. Ethan and Lily worked side by side, trying to get back into a normal routine, but their eyes often met, worried, as if each sensed that danger was never far away. Around noon, the doorbell rang unusually loudly. A deep voice echoed behind them. "Ethan Miller?" The two turned and saw the man who had already been watching him in the street. His gaze was cold and determined. Without waiting for an invitation, he entered the shop, scrutinizing Ethan like a predator assessing its prey. "Who are you?" asked Ethan, his voice firm but measured. "Oh, you recognize me now," the man replied with a menacing smile. "You thought you could erase everything and rebuild your life, but some debts never disappear." Lily instinctively positioned herself behind Ethan, her heart pounding wildly. "Leave him alone," she cried. "He owes you nothing." The man sneered, disdainfully. "Believe me, young lady. I don't prey on innocent people. Only on those who have tried to flee their past." Ethan felt anger rising, but also the responsibility to protect Lily. He took a deep breath, trying to remain calm. "If you want something from me, we can talk about it," calmly. "But you won't touch Lily." The man inclined his head, as if to think, then took out a business card and threw it on the counter. "You'll find me here if you want to negotiate, or if you have the courage." Without waiting for a reply, he left the shop, leaving behind a palpable tension and an oppressive silence. Lily looked at Ethan, her eyes filled with worry and compassion. "Who is it really?" she murmured. Ethan took her hand in his, lightly squeezing her fingers. "He's someone I knew in the past, someone dangerous. But I promise I'll do everything I can to make sure you're never hurt." Lily nodded her head, resolute. "Then we'll face this together. We're stronger together." For the first time, Ethan felt a mixture of admiration and gratitude towards Lily. She was not just the woman he loved, she was his ally, his strength. But in the shadows of the city, the mysterious man was still watching, ready to strike again. And Ethan knew their peaceful life would never be the same again. Night had fallen on the city, enveloping the streets in a silent and unsettling darkness. Ethan and Lily were at home, trying to have a quiet moment after the day's tension. But neither could ignore the unease that hung in the air. Suddenly, a loud noise from outside startled Lily. Ethan jumped up immediately, his heart pounding. He knew it wasn't a coincidence. "Stay behind me," he murmured, as he approached the window. Outside, a figure moved in the shadows, watching the house. Before Ethan could react, the back door gave way with a brutal blow. The mysterious man burst into the house, his icy gaze fixed on Ethan. "So, this is where you're hiding," he said in a threatening voice. Ethan instinctively placed Lily behind him, ready to defend himself. "Why are you chasing me? What do you want?" The man sneered. "You think you can erase your past? Some debts must be paid, Ethan, and I'm here for that." Before Ethan could react, the man tried to attack him. But Ethan, trained by his past experiences, managed to defend himself and repel the intruder long enough for Lily to summon her courage and press the alarm button. The sirens wailed, and the man, realizing he had attracted too much attention, fled, disappearing into the night. Ethan, trembling but relieved, collapsed into an armchair. Lily ran to his side, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Ethan, it's going to be okay," she said softly. "We survived. We're together, and nothing can separate us." Ethan looked at her, his eyes filled with gratitude and love. "Thank you for being here. I don't know what I would do without you." Despite their relief, they both knew it was only the beginning. The mysterious man hadn't given up, and their peace was fragile. Ethan then understood that protecting Lily meant confronting his past head-on, no matter the cost. And as the night deepened, one thing was certain: their love had just been tested for the first time by a real threat, and they would have to fight together for every moment of happiness they had found. The next morning, the town seemed normal, but for Ethan and Lily, every noise, every suspicious movement was a reminder of the previous day's threat. Ethan knew he could no longer remain passive. He had to act to protect Lily and put an end to the shadow of her past that hung over them. "Lily. I have to do something," he said, gripping his coffee cup tightly, his gaze determined. "This guy isn't going to disappear on his own. We have to be ready." Lily looked at him, her eyes reflecting both worry and confidence. "Ethan. I'm with you. Whatever you have to do, we'll do it together." Ethan gave a grateful smile. They spent the morning organizing a discreet plan, to increase security around the house, to warn the authorities of any threat, and above all, to remain vigilant without giving in to fear. In the afternoon, they decided to go out for a walk, despite the tension. Walking together in the park allowed them to regain a little normalcy, and their hands intertwined naturally, a symbol of their complicity and their budding love. "You know," Lily murmured, "I never believed love could be this strong, but with you, I feel capable of facing anything." Ethan looked at her intently. "And I've never felt this way before you. You give me the courage to face all of this past, and to dream of a future with you." Their bond was palpable, but Ethan knew this calm was fragile. He decided to contact an old friend, someone he trusted, who could help him manage the threat. This friend, a former soldier and now a private investigator, could track down the intruder and gather information about his intentions. That evening, as they prepared dinner together, a new worry arose. An envelope slipped under the door, similar to the previous one. Ethan cautiously opened it. This time, inside, there was a clear message. You can't run away from your past. Soon, everything you love will be in danger. Lily squeezed his hand, determined. No matter what he does, we are together, and no one can separate us. Ethan felt a comforting warmth fill his heart. Despite the fear and the threat, their love became a force greater than any danger. And in that silent promise, he knew that, hand in hand with Lily, he could face any challenge that lay ahead. But deep in the night, the mysterious man was still watching, preparing his next move. And this time, he wouldn't just frighten them, he would strike where Ethan and Lily felt most vulnerable. The morning began like any other, but a feeling of unease lingered in the air. Ethan had done everything he could to secure the house and alert his contacts, but deep down he knew it was only a matter of time before the past came knocking. Around noon, as Lily was opening the shop to welcome customers, a familiar figure appeared outside, waiting for the right moment to act. Ethan, who was discreetly watching from the window, felt his stomach clench. "Lily, stay inside, don't go out," he whispered. But before he could intervene, a noise rang out from the back of the shop. Someone had forced the door open. The mysterious man burst in, his face hard and determined. "Ethan Miller, it's time to settle the score," he said in an icy voice. Ethan immediately positioned himself between the intruder and Lily, ready to defend himself. Lily, despite her fear, grabbed an object to protect herself, refusing to remain passive. The confrontation quickly escalated. The man attempted to physically attack them, but Ethan, thanks to his reflexes and training, managed to fend him off and temporarily subdue him. The chaos attracted the attention of passers-by, and the police arrived a few minutes later, forcing the intruder to flee. Breathless but unharmed, Ethan and Lily found themselves in the middle of the shop's lobby, their hearts pounding wildly. "It's going to be okay," Ethan murmured, hugging Lily tightly. "You're safe now." Lily nodded her head, trembling but brave. "We survived, together." Ethan knew, however, that it wasn't over. The attack had just shown that the danger was real, close, and determined. But seeing Lily by his side, he felt a new strength surge through him. He would protect their love at all costs. "We need to find out who he is and why he's after me," said Ethan, his gaze dark but determined. Lily, placing her hand on his, bravely replied, "No matter what he does, we will face it together." And as night fell on the city, one thing was certain: their love had just been put to the test, and they would have to face not only a dangerous enemy, but also the secrets and ghosts of Ethan's past. In the days that followed, Ethan and Lily immersed themselves in a discreet investigation. They knew that the mysterious man would not disappear on his own and that the key to regaining peace lay in understanding his motives. Ethan contacted his old friend and detective friend, Marcus Reynolds, a former soldier turned private investigator, to help track down the intruder. Together, they analyzed the man's letters, photos, and recent movements. Each clue revealed a complicated past, filled with grudges and unpaid debts, but also a disturbing obsession with Ethan. Despite her worry, Lily stayed by his side, offering a clear and intuitive perspective. She noticed details that Ethan might have missed, and their collaboration strengthened their bond. "Ethan," she said one evening, as they examined the documents on the living room table, "I think this man wants you to pay for something that doesn't concern us. But we have to be strategic. Fear won't help us." Ethan smiled, touched by her maturity and strength. "You're right, Lily. With you by my side, I feel stronger. We'll find a solution." Their investigation led them to discover the man's identity, Victor Kane, a former associate of Ethan's, driven by jealousy and resentment over past decisions. Kane had never accepted Ethan's departure and his decision to rebuild his life. He wanted to reclaim what he considered his due, regardless of the danger it posed to Lily. "We must act before he strikes again," said Ethan, determined. They then devised a plan to counter him. With Marcus, they prepared enhanced security measures while gathering information on Kane's possible next moves. Their collaboration was meticulous, every detail mattered in anticipating their adversary's every move. Despite the tension, Ethan and Lily found moments for themselves, strengthening their love and mutual trust. Every smile, every hug, every word exchanged reminded Ethan why he was fighting, not only for his safety, but for a future shared with Lily. As they held hands that evening, gazing at the city illuminated by streetlights, Ethan murmured, "No matter what Kane does, we're in this together. And together, we're stronger than him." Lily smiled, her eyes shining with determination and love. "Yes, together, we can face anything." But in the shadows, Kane was still watching, ready to strike, convinced that his plan would unfold exactly as he had intended. And Ethan knew that the final confrontation was approaching, a test that would decide not only their safety, but also their future. Night had fallen on the city, enveloping the streets in a heavy, menacing darkness. Ethan knew that tonight would be decisive. Kane would stop at nothing, and he had to protect Lily at all costs. "Lily, stay behind me," he murmured, squeezing her hand. "This time, we're putting an end to all this." Lily nodded, her courage matching Ethan's. Together, they headed towards the warehouse where Marcus had located Kane. Each footstep echoed in the silent air, Ethan's heart pounding wildly. Inside, Kane was waiting for them, his face hard and his gaze cold. "Finally. I've found you, Ethan. And this time, there won't be any escape." Ethan stood in front of Lily, determined. "Kane, it ends here. Your obsession ends tonight." The confrontation was intense. Kane tried to attack Ethan, but thanks to his training and determination, Ethan managed to neutralize his movements and subdue him. Lily, courageous, helped to distract Kane and maintain control of the situation. Finally, Kane was disarmed and subdued, powerless against the combined strength of Ethan and Lily. The police, alerted by Marcus, arrived to arrest Kane. The threat was over. Breathless but relieved, Ethan and Lily found themselves in the center of the warehouse, their hands intertwined, their eyes reflecting a mixture of fatigue and joy. "We did it, together," Ethan murmured, his heart overflowing with emotion. Lily smiled, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. "Yes, together. Nothing can ever separate us now." A few days later, in the small shop where they had met, Ethan took a decisive step. He knelt before Lily, taking out a simple but magnificent ring. "Lily Harper, you saved me once, and now I want to protect you forever. Will you marry me?" Lily's eyes filled with tears, a radiant smile lighting up her face. "Yes, Ethan, 1,000 times yes." And in that humble shop, surrounded by the aromas of fresh bread and coffee, Ethan and Lily sealed their love. After hardships, fears, and threats, they had found peace and happiness, hand in hand, ready to build their future together. The past might still exist somewhere, but their love was now stronger than any shadow. Together, they were invincible.